We have this image in our head. It's an image of evolution, of nature. It's a cheetah running down a gazelle. It's a shark's fin cutting through the water. It's a T-Rex roaring over its kill. We see nature as a constant, brutal, moment-to-moment war, red in tooth and claw. A place where every single day is a desperate scramble for survival. One wrong move, and you're dead. One moment of weakness, and you're someone else's lunch. But is that really true? Was every day a fight for survival, for every creature that has ever lived? The short answer is no. The longer answer is that it's complicated, and the way we picture it is mostly wrong. It's like watching a movie trailer full of explosions and car chases, and then assuming the entire 2-hour film is nothing but that. The reality of life, for most organisms throughout history, was probably filled with long stretches of, well, not much at all. Let's start with the part that is true. The fight is real. There's no denying the harshness of life. A baby sea turtle hatches on the beach. Its first act as a living being is a frantic, desperate scramble to the ocean. Gulls and crabs are waiting. The odds are terrible. Most of them won't make it. For those few minutes, their life is absolutely a fight for survival. Every second counts. There is no room for error. Or think about a harsh winter. A pack of wolves is hungry. The deer are weak, but they are also wary and hard to find in the deep snow. Every calorie the wolves burn searching for a meal is a calorie they might need to survive the cold. The hunt is not a sport. It's a life or death calculation of energy spent versus energy gained. If they fail, they starve. For the deer, the sound of a twig snapping is the difference between a peaceful death in old age and a violent one today. In those moments, for those animals, life is a raw, unforgiving struggle. Competition is another form of this fight. It's not always predator and prey. Sometimes it's two oak trees in a forest. They are both fighting for the same patch of sunlight. One grows a little taller, a little faster. It spreads its leaves and casts its neighbor in shadow. The shaded tree can't get enough light. It weakens. It eventually dies. It lost the fight. The fight might have taken 100 years, a slow, silent, patient battle, but it was a fight to the death nonetheless. Two male lions fighting for control of a pride. The winner gets to pass on his genes. The loser is often exiled, wounded, and left to fend for himself, with a much lower chance of survival. Mates, territory, food, water, these are limited resources, and whenever resources are limited, there will be conflict. There will be a fight, and then there's the invisible fight, the constant war against disease. A virus enters a body. The immune system mounts a defense. It's a microscopic battle, with armies of cells fighting and dying. A single infection could wipe out an entire population that has no defense against it. This is a fight for survival on the most fundamental level. So, yes, the fight is real. It's brutal. It's unforgiving. The highlights of nature are full of these moments. They are dramatic. They are what we remember. But they are just that. They are the highlights. They are not the average Tuesday. What was the average Tuesday like for, say, a crocodile? It probably spent most of the day lying perfectly still on a riverbank, looking like a log. It wasn't fighting, it wasn't hunting, it was waiting, it was conserving energy. A crocodile's metabolism is incredibly slow. It can go for months, even a year, without a meal. Its life is not a constant chase. It is long periods of stillness, punctuated by brief, violent bursts of activity. If you averaged out its existence, the fight would be a tiny fraction of its life. Most of its time is spent doing absolutely nothing, and that nothingness is a survival strategy. Think about a lion. We see the dramatic takedown of a wildebeest on a nature documentary. What we don't see is the 20 hours of that same day that the lion spent sleeping or lying in the shade, digesting and resting. Hunting is incredibly taxing. It's dangerous. A kick from a zebra can break a lion's jaw, which is a death sentence. A charge from a buffalo can kill it outright, so lions don't do it unless they have to. They are masters of conserving energy. Their life is not a constant fight. It is a strategic effort to do as little fighting as possible. The goal of life isn't to fight. The goal is to survive long enough to reproduce. And often, the best way to do that is to stay out of trouble. This principle of energy conservation is one of the most powerful yet overlooked forces in evolution. Every action has a cost. Moving costs energy. Fighting costs a lot of energy. Being stressed costs energy. An animal that is constantly fighting, constantly running, constantly on high alert will burn through its resources. It will have less energy to devote to finding food, healing from injury, or raising young. Evolution doesn't necessarily favor the strongest or the fastest in a raw sense. It favors the most efficient. The animal that can get the job done with the least amount of effort often wins in the long run. The lazy crocodile that waits for a fish to swim right into its mouth is a more successful design than a hypothetical high-energy crocodile that constantly patrols the river. Then there is the other massive part of the story that the constant fight narrative completely ignores: cooperation. Life isn't just about competing with each other, it's also about working together. A pack of wolves is a family. They cooperate to hunt prey much larger than any single wolf could take down alone. They share the food. They work together to protect their territory and raise their pups. Their relationships are complex. They are not just mindless killing machines fighting each other for scraps. Their survival depends on their ability to not fight with each other. Look at a colony of ants or a hive of bees. They are models of cooperation. Tens of thousands of individuals work together as a single superorganism. They divide labor, some forage, some defend the nest, some care for the young. The individual ant is not in a daily fight for its own personal survival. Its survival is tied completely to the survival of the colony. Its actions are for the good of the group. The fight, if there is one, is between colonies or between the colony and a predator, not a constant internal struggle. This cooperation even crosses species lines. This is called symbiosis. A cleaner fish swims right into the mouth of a large predator fish, like a shark or a grouper. The cleaner fish eats the parasites out of the big fish's mouth. The big fish gets its teeth cleaned and is rid of harmful parasites. The cleaner fish gets a meal and protection from other predators. It's a win-win. There is no fight. There is a partnership. The roots of most trees are connected to a vast underground network of fungi. The fungi are better at absorbing water and nutrients from the soil than the tree roots are on their own. The fungi pass these nutrients to the tree. In exchange, the tree, which can photosynthesize, sends sugars down to the fungi for food. They are helping each other survive. The entire forest is a complex web of these cooperative relationships. It is not just a collection of individual trees fighting for sunlight. Even inside our own bodies, we are not alone. Our guts are filled with trillions of bacteria. We can't digest certain foods without them. They produce vitamins for us. They help train our immune system. We give them a safe, warm place to live and a steady supply of food. We are not in a fight with them. We are a team. We are an ecosystem. Our survival depends on them, and their survival depends on us. So the picture gets more complicated. Life isn't just a fight. It's also long periods of rest. It's cooperation. It's partnership. The dramatic life or death struggle is the exception, not the rule. Maybe the problem is how we define the fight. If we're only thinking of a physical battle, a chase, a bite, then no, every day was not a fight. But if we broaden the definition, the picture changes again. What if the fight is not always a dramatic event? What if it's a constant low-level pressure? The fight for an organism is the fight against entropy. Entropy is the natural tendency of things to fall apart, to become disordered. A living creature is a highly ordered system. It takes a constant input of energy just to maintain that order. Your heart has to beat. Your cells have to repair themselves. You have to maintain your body temperature. This is a fight. It's a quiet metabolic fight against the fundamental laws of physics. And it never ever stops until you die. From this perspective, every second of being alive is a struggle to hold yourself together against the forces of decay. A plant in a dry climate is in a constant fight to find and retain water. It's not a dramatic battle with another plant. It's a silent, relentless struggle against dehydration. Its roots push deeper into the soil. Its leaves have a waxy coating to prevent evaporation. Every part of its being is designed to win this slow, quiet fight. So the fight isn't always external. It's often internal. It's the pressure to be efficient. It's the pressure to maintain your own complex structure. It's the pressure to find just enough resources to keep the engine running for one more day. Another way to look at this is through the lens of time. On the scale of a single day, an animal's life might be mostly peaceful. But on the scale of a lifetime, or on the scale of generations, the fight is constant and unforgiving. An individual rabbit might have a lovely day. It eats some clover, it dozes in the sun, it mates. It seems like a good life, not a struggle. But that rabbit exists as part of a lineage, a long line of ancestors. And that lineage has been through hell. It has survived ice ages. It has survived droughts. It has survived the introduction of new predators and new diseases. The lineage has been in a constant multi-million-year war against extinction. Every single one of that rabbit's ancestors, going all the way back to the first life on Earth, was successful enough to reproduce. Countless other lineages failed. They went extinct, they lost the fight. The seemingly peaceful rabbit nibbling on clover is the descendant of an unbroken line of winners in the harshest competition that has ever existed. Its calm day is paid for by the struggles of millions of generations. The pressure of natural selection is always there, like gravity. You don't always feel it, but it is always shaping everything. A single mutation in a virus can render an entire species' immune system useless. A slow change in climate can make a once perfect habitat unlivable. The continents drift. Mountains rise. Sea levels fall. The world is always changing, and the fight for a species is the fight to adapt to that change. It's a race. Can the species evolve fast enough to keep up with its changing environment? If it can, it survives. If it can't, it disappears. For a species, every day is a fight for survival, even if the individuals of that species are having a pretty easy time of it. Evolution also doesn't produce perfection. It produces things that are good enough. A gazelle doesn't have to be able to outrun every cheetah. It just has to be, on average, a little faster than the slowest cheetahs, or a little more alert, or a little luckier. An organism doesn't need to win every fight. It just needs to survive long enough to have offspring. The good enough principle means that life is full of compromises. A peacock's massive tail is great for attracting a mate, but it's terrible for escaping a predator. It's a trade-off. The benefit for mating outweighs the risk of getting eaten, so the trait persists. But it makes the peacock's daily life a little more dangerous. It's not a perfect design for fighting, but it's a good enough design for reproducing. This is not the work of an engineer designing a perfect fighting machine. It's the work of a tinkerer cobbling things together from whatever parts are available, just trying to make something that works well enough to not fall apart before it can make a copy of itself. So what does this mean for us, for humans? Our ancestors, for hundreds of thousands of years, lived as hunter-gatherers. Was every day a fight for them? Again, yes and no. There were surely days of absolute terror. A child getting sick, a hunt going wrong, a confrontation with a cave bear or a pack of hyenas, a sudden storm, a long drought. Starvation was a real and constant threat. Infant mortality was incredibly high. Life was fragile and often short. In that sense, survival was a daily concern. But there must have also been long periods of stability and even boredom. Times when the hunting was good, the weather was mild, and the biggest problem of the day was where to find the best berries. They spent time making tools, telling stories, painting on cave walls, and strengthening social bonds. Grooming and gossiping in primates, including us, are crucial for cooperation. These are not activities of creatures locked in a desperate minute-to-minute struggle for existence. They are the activities of creatures who have figured out a system that gives them some breathing room. Cooperation was the key to human survival. A single human is not that impressive. We're not very fast. We don't have claws or fangs. We're pretty weak. But in a group, we were the most formidable predator the planet has ever seen. We worked together to hunt mammoths. We shared food. We cared for the sick and injured. We passed knowledge down through generations. Our ability to cooperate, to trust each other, and to build a society was our primary survival weapon. The IFE for early humans was often a team sport, not an individual one. In the modern world, for many of us, the nature of the fight has changed completely. We've outsourced the immediate struggle for survival. We don't hunt for our food, we go to a grocery store. We don't build our own shelters from scratch. We don't have to worry about being eaten by a lion on our way to work. We have created a world of such incredible safety and abundance that we are now shielded from the raw realities that our ancestors faced. But the fight is still there, it's just different. The fight might be economic, the struggle to pay the bills, to keep a job, to provide for a family. This can create a constant low-level stress that our ancient brains interpret as a survival threat. The boss who can fire you becomes the modern equivalent of the leopard in the tree. Your body's stress response, the flood of cortisol, the increased heart rate is the same as our ancestors. But there is no leopard. There is no physical fight or flight that can resolve the situation. The threat is abstract and chronic. The fight is against new diseases. It's against mental health struggles like anxiety and depression. It's a social fight for status and belonging. We are still competing for resources, but those resources might be promotions at work, spots in a good school, or attention on social media. Our brains are fundamentally the same as those of our hunter-gatherer ancestors. They are wired for a world where immediate physical threats were common. They are designed to be a little paranoid, to assume the rustle in the grass is a predator, because being wrong in that direction is much safer than assuming it's just the wind and being wrong. Now we live in a world where that threat detection system is on high alert, but it's triggered by deadlines, traffic jams, and angry emails. The fight for survival has, for many of us, moved from the outside world into our own heads. So, to come back to the original question, was every day a fight for survival? If you picture a gladiator in an arena fighting to the death every single day, then no. That's a fantasy. That's the movie trailer version of life. Most of life for most organisms was not like that. It was quieter, it was slower, it was filled with long stretches of waiting, resting, and just being. It was often based on cooperation and efficiency, not just relentless conflict. But if you redefine the fight, the answer changes. If the fight is the constant, silent struggle against entropy, the need to consume energy just to stay organized and alive, then yes. Every moment of life is a fight. If the fight is the long-term, generational pressure of natural selection, where a single bad winter or a new virus can doom an entire lineage, then yes. The fight is relentless and has never stopped. If the fight is about being good enough to pass on your genes in a changing world full of competitors, predators, and limited resources, then yes. The pressure of that fight is always present, shaping every aspect of a creature's existence, from the way it digests its food to the way it finds a mate. The image of nature as a constant, bloody battle is not wrong, but it is incomplete. It's a caricature. It leaves out the stillness, it leaves out the cooperation. It leaves out the sheer boredom that was likely a huge part of the average animal's life. The real story is more subtle and I think more interesting. It's a story of incredible violence and incredible tenderness. It's a story of brutal competition and intricate partnership. It's a story of moments of pure terror and long epochs of quiet stability. The fight for survival wasn't a daily fist fight. It was more like a constant, complex negotiation with the rules of existence. Sometimes the negotiation was loud and violent, but most of the time it was quiet, patient, and persistent. It's the slow, steady push of a root through the soil, the silent work of an immune cell, the patient wait of a predator. That is the real fight for survival, and it is happening all around us and inside us all the time.